Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Darkness take control.
Hello everybody and welcome back to 2019 week 1 of Meta, where we get some of the best high school teams to go head to head with one another. My name is Ewan the Artistry, joined once again by Adam Toasted Brewman. This time we've got the Western Australian teams going head to head, and it'll be very fun to watch this particular one, Toasted. It's going to be a grudge match between two teams from the same school.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit earlier in the day about bragging rights between states, but bragging rights between the school grounds, I feel like that's forming the hierarchy.
Oh, that's infinitely better. Whoever wins between these two teams will definitely have bragging rights over the other one. So guys, coming into this game, we do have Willetton Senior High School, of course, hosting for both teams. Team Aurora will be on the blue side, while Team Arctic will be on the red. So like we said, very fun to watch two teams who, surely in the lead up to this event, have practiced against each other a little bit, so maybe they know something about the other one's champion pool or certain style that they may be running. So I'm really excited to see, like, we're going to see like one or two really oddball bands Toasted, something that's just out there, and that's what, like, because these teams should be scrimming against each other, like, from now on. Hopefully.
Yeah, like there should always be in-house scrims. They always help out with learning, you know, just the ins and outs of drafting a little bit more, the basics. So I'm guessing they know each other's pocket picks and all those cheeky little things. But we are into champion select.
Right. And talking about those little pocket picks, Anivia is the first champion to get caught with that ban. And Bit of an oddball champion, bit of an old school champion, but an effective champion nonetheless.
Oh yeah, she's such a powerful control mage, so I can see why you take her off the Rift if someone enjoys that frost giant of a I was trying to make the
I know you were, but unfortunately the Articuno has been banned, as we were talking about, taken away. And if you can play the Articuno well, much like in Pokemon, the Ice Bird treats you very, very well. The second ban is, of course, the Riven. When we talked about Riven earlier today, we talked about how if you are good on the champion, if you have enough mastery and you're mechanically gifted with the champion, damn, can you do some damage to the enemy team?
Oh, definitely. We see it across a wide variety of lanes. Things like the Nidalee or the Elise are no exception to this rule. And, I mean, once again, if you see someone who's a Riven main or that in the OPGGs, in the in-house scrims, I'm sure if Incognic plays it, that he would have played it in scrims, right? And
surely, but unfortunately, Riven has been denied, and the Zed is also taken away now. Zed and Riven, we saw in last round's pick and ban, both getting taken away. As we talked about, very powerful champions. If you snowball with them, they can take over the game at the drop of a hat. But talking about snowball champions, Darius, who did a demolition derby in the top side last game, untouched.
Yeah, he has not been touched yet. And I think that a lot of solo queue champions in the Iron to Gold sort of regions love those sort of style of champions. Fiora taken off the bat, she's seen as sort of something that can do quite well into the Darius if you are once again skilled on that champion. So maybe they do have something in store of the likes, also maybe something like the Yorick or there are quite a couple champions.
Aurelia was banned in the first game of the day, left untouched throughout the banning phase of the second, and has now been first locked in. But I'm concerned first locking in an Aurelia for first pick is extremely risky, because there are a lot of champions that do really, really well into one of my own personal favorites, Kled. If I see an Aurelia locked in, I'm like, all right, Kled time. It is time to play the crazy little yordle.
Yeah, so if you keep up with the patch notes, you would know that Aurelia, I like to refer to her personally as sort of a discount Jax because of the way her passive was adapted to and changes. But I don't know how this matchup is going to go for Aurelia.
Well, as a Nasus connoisseur,
yes,
I love that word, painful until about level 7. And then at that point, Aurelia, while she can duck, dip, dive, and dodge around you, eventually it gets to the point where your Q stack becomes undeniable, and you will get the Q crunch down onto her, because the Defiant Dance is great for damage reduction. There's an issue with damage reduction versus a Nasus. The Q, if you do the build correctly, in my opinion, has a 2.2 second cooldown, and then when you ulti, it has a 1.1 second cooldown. Now, damage reduction is great until you're being hit with that damage every second, quite literally.
And also, Nasus has inbuilt sustain, so that makes it a little bit hard on Incognic.
But moving away from the top lane, we do have both junglers locked in, and this is something I know you're going to be excited about, because we have Sejuani, your highest mastery champion, unless I'm horribly mistaken, and Rek'Sai, someone who you have been an enthusiast about ever since she got, the little bit of love that she needed this patch.
Yeah, these are two of my favorite junglers, so I can actually talk extensively about this matchup. We'll get into a bit in the spectator delay and the such, but Cassiopeia has been blind picked at the moment. Honestly, I see your face right now. You feel a bit iffy about this one, but with the Conqueror being an option for spellcasters now, I think it works well, but
Talia locked in as the response. Now, Talia, not a champion we typically see a whole ton. She took a brief stint as a jungler, of all things, for a while, and then returned to the mid lane. But the issue is that she's not as strong as she was, and against a Cassiopeia, I'm just worried she won't be able to manage the wave as well as the Cassio will.
Yeah, look, so a little bit of a history on Talia. I love the champion as well.
I love every champion.
I wouldn't say so much that she returned to the mid lane. She went to the abyss of not being played at all. Because what happened, essentially, she was really strong with her AoE on her worked ground when you'd use your Q. And so they said, all right, let's make it single target, buff the damage. So then she became a jungler. Then they hurt the damage amounts a lot for jungle camps. They made it do reduced damage. And then she says, all right, well, I can't go jungle anymore. I might as well go mid. But compared to things like, for example, a Cassio, who is a hyperscaling champion who is also quite a lane bully nowadays, I don't think this is the best of decisions.
Well, it is the decision that Willetton Senior High School Arctic have elected for because they saw the Cassiopeia and willingly locked into the Talia. So maybe there is something that we don't know, Toast, and it's a very possible option as we are through the second round of bans, and we can see the Vayne and the Morgana denied by Arctic, with Aurora taking away. I can see you getting the Misfortune, the Pike, and Ari locked in, not what I was expecting.
This is a Talia support. I'm calling it right now. It's a Talia support. The reason I say this is because her Seismic Shove has a very long range, and she's actually been played a bit as like a niche sort of champion in that support role because of the changes that came through. She's very good as a poke support, maybe not as good as something like a Brand, but it means that they want to kill threat ADC, something that can follow up well with the poke damage.
Exactly, and if that does turn out to be a Talia, I do like the lock-in of the Ezreal here for Hawkeye, assuming he is the AD carry, of course, because you say about fantastic range, Ezreal has a dash that is almost an instacast, so you shouldn't be able to get hit by the Seismic Shove, assuming that is a Talia support. And paired up with a Braum, we've seen this a bit lately. I'm still not convinced in Ezreal Braum. I'm more of a fan of Ezreal with a poke support with the likes of like a Karma, for example, would be my personal preference. But Bobalicious, that is an amazing name, has elected to go for the Braum, and Lux locked in. Okay, so we're getting an AP carry bot lane. I suspect it's going to be Ari Lux bot lane, because you get hit by one bit of CC.
Yeah, no, it is going to be a lot of trouble for them, and I do suspect it's the Talia jungle. Maybe they are going to have it as an Ari Lux.
Where Rek'Sai go? Where did Rek'Sai go? Rek'Sai
has to be jungle. I believe it's a Talia support, my apologies.
Oh.
But it looks like they might be just sitting with it.
The thing is, everyone has locked in their own champions right now, which tells me that when it comes to drafting, as you mentioned earlier, these teams might need a little bit of love when it comes to how can you outsmart someone through drafting, which is something I'm hoping will develop as we go out throughout the tournament. And of course, not everyone will have every champion, therefore this outsmarting through drafting is, of course, a little bit harder. But we do see all the matchups here, and I think, like I said, we have that 3-minute delay. I want to know about Sejuani Rek'Sai, because we said this in the first game of the day when we had the Victorian teams. We're going to say it again today. The first 15 minutes of any, in my opinion, a really good game is always dictated by the jungler, and you got a Rek'Sai and a Sejuani who can have massive impact.
Yeah, so both these junglers are sort of the two pinnacles of like jungle style that we've seen emerge since the jungle changes came through. And I have like just talked the ear off of anyone that is willing to listen to me regarding this, because I'm a jungler. Of course, I am going to just want to tell the world about it, just like a vegan does the same. I love this because you've got one style who is great, like the Sejuani is great with the low econ because of the true resistances that you get from your passive, that Arctic skin, I believe it's called. I may be slightly off with that one. It means she's great. Low econ, still very tanky, and her clear is amazing now because you can constantly use that glacial shard to just throw it at the Krugs, for example. The medium-sized Krugs can also be affected by that, and it means that you deal a lot of damage in quick succession to those camps. So she's great at power farming. And then she just has such a great clear that she has so much free time on the map to then gank off of that. On the other side of the rift, the Rek'Sai, she's sort of the same side of thing, very good clear. However, she has such great aggressive potential in the early game because of the ability to tunnel and then be burrowed and unburrowed, allowing you to sort of scout out where that Sejuani on the other side of the rift may be without having to walk into that jungle, keeping that aspect of safety. So I think that in these two matchups, if the two do meet, Sejuani wins those trades at level 6 specifically because
access to the Glacial Prison.
When she gets that Glacial Prison, she has so much damage because you can proc your passive damage twice onto a champion. However, pre-6, Rek'Sai will do so much more damage in quick succession with Conqueror, which is amazing on almost anybody at this point in the game.
Yeah, Conqueror has certainly risen up.
Yeah, so if Rek'Sai does bump into Sejuani, as I would expect to see this happen a bit, other than the flurry of ganks we will probably also see, Rek'Sai wins this one handily. Exactly. But then, 2 items, it goes back the other favor.
Exactly. We all know what happens when tanks run into sort of bruisers, because Rek'Sai will more than likely go for like a warrior into Black Cleaver, so a bit tankier Queen of the Xur side, while Sejuani, we'll get the Cinderhawk, we'll get the Warmogs. Very difficult to kill, but we'll have to see. Like we said before, it is a gank first, ask questions later sort of style, and Rek'Sai can definitely gank first and ask questions later with that tunnel ability you were mentioning, and of course Sejuani, while she doesn't have the flexibility of that tunnel, as you were saying, she's still very aggressive, and I'm gonna love to see what these two junglers do bring out in the early game, because as I said, that's where all the action I'm hoping to take place. But it's not just the jungle that I want to focus on. The bottom lane is very unconventional, to say the least. Now, one side is conventional. Ezreal Braum, not a combo I like, as I said before. I would prefer a more pokey support to pair up with the Ezreal, but it does have its graces. But interestingly, the Lux Ahri is not a bottom lane I've seen in a while. I've seen Ahri on her own in the bottom lane, and I've seen Lux as a support for, well, multiple years, because I've been playing this game for too many years. But how would these two pair up together? Because I'm seeing a lot of harassment, but will they really have the wave clear to dance around in Ezreal Braum?
Well, I mean, it's clearly a kill lane. In the bot lane, they're both running Ignite. You've got the Comet for the poke on the Lux, and then you've got, of course, the classic, the Electrocute on that KDA Ahri, which is juicy skin if I do say so myself. But I think that if they ever get onto the Ezreal dies.
Yes.
Braum obviously is a much tankier beast, especially when he has his shield up. He's going to take almost no damage. But this screams to me, well, we're going to have more than just Ahri and Lux in the lane with us. It's going to be a lot of bot lane priority, in my opinion, with some early roams from, say, like a Talia, who has very strong potential to shove someone in a way that they don't want to be shoved from a long distance.
Exactly, but we'll have to see. I would love to see Rek'Sai visiting the bottom lane with that Conqueror, as you were talking about, kill lane, get Ezreal behind, but more importantly, get your Ahri and Lux ahead, because if they can get ahead, if anyone has played against a Lux or Ahri who has had the poke, the catch, one light binding into a charm, into a full combo, and you're like, oh, I'm playing Grey Screen Simulator again. So, a bit painful for that one, but a look down the keystones, guys, while we are loading into the game. Nothing overly substandard other than two, in my opinion. Now, the one I know you're going to talk about is the Cassiopeia is running Comet over Light of Conqueror, but Comet, in my opinion, is still sort of standard. The one that catches my eye, and this is obvious because I'm a Nasus connoisseur, as previously mentioned, Nasus has elected to run Conqueror over the Grasp of the Undying or the other standard keystones that you run into an Aurelia. Now, I'm not sure how sold I am on this, because it's like, it's not a bad rune by any means of the imagination. The true damage, it means you're accelerated a little bit more, but the graph just makes you so much tankier. And if Aurelia gets ahead now, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck a lot.
Yeah. Well, like, as you say, the Grasp synergizes so well, especially with his passive. And the way that Nasus likes to trade in lane, you can get it off sometimes multiple times in trades, which is quite frustrating to be up against, to be quite frank. But honestly, I'm guessing you have not played Conqueror on Nasus specifically since the changes? Okay.
I have played Conqueror on Nasus. I found it to be very effective into tanks, because you don't necessarily need the Grasp. I ran it into a Mundo, and I ran it into a Maokai. Now, Maokai is a free lane, so I'm not going to bother talking about that. But the Mundo, who can trade decently with you because he's a damage tank, and I would akin him to the likes of Aurelia. Does a lot of damage, relatively hard to kill because he's quite tanky, and can go either way. So, it's not a bad matchup. Keystone selection out of Alpha Wolves. I'm never going to pronounce that properly. I'm going to keep calling him Alpha Wolf. It's just going to happen. I know it is.
Okay.
It's not a bad Keystone by any means. It's one of these ones where it's up to the personal preference. It means that early game, he's going to have a bit rougher time in lane trading, but when he gets those stats, when he has that Trinity Force, you're going to feel a lot of pain, and I cannot wait to see the Q crunch.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm actually pretty interested to see how the Conqueror works out on the Nasus in this matchup, because this is new to me, but I want to talk about, once again, that comment on the Cassiopeia. Of course, it has been seen quite a bit in solo queue. It popped up a couple patches ago as people began to say, well, screw it. We're not gonna play Cassio like this late game scaling champ. Instead, we're gonna max our Q, and we're gonna constantly harass in lane with it, like we're seeing. Takes it level 1, and you just constantly proc Conqueror. I mean, comment, my apologies. Over the Conqueror, like, it's not a bad playstyle. It was nerfed a couple times, but yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's not bad. We'll have to see how impactful it is, because we were actually talking about Cassiopeia while we were off camera, while we were off stream, and talking about why is she picked? Why would you lock in a Cassiopeia in specific matchups? And the consensus was effectively, does she outrange? If so, then she seems to be a more ideal lock-in.
Yeah, I think it's also a bit of a comfort pick for Snazpool. We do see
Gage onto your boy. The concussive blows do proc the Winter's Bite, and with the shield up, there's not a whole lot fighting back. More than anything, that is so much harassment down onto the Ahri, but she does have a heal in her kit, so it's just like, you can keep her down, but it's very hard to keep an Ahri out.
Yeah, it is quite, I wouldn't say detrimental, but it's problematic for them in this lane. They have a kill lane set up, so, ooh, a really nice combo set up from Tony from WSHS right there, with just the seismic shove into her massive landmine.
The Toblerone minefield, I like to call it, because it looks like a giant pile of Toblerones lying on the ground.
Fair enough, I've never heard that one, but
Really?
I'm gonna steal that from you.
You steal everything from me, Toasted. You steal all my good lines.
That's a good point.
On the top side, a lot of trading back and forth, and this is what we're expecting, the trades. Nasus is going to lose these trades wholehandedly because Aurelia quite strong early, and he just doesn't have the sustain, or the, like, not necessarily the same, but the tankiness to survive.
Yeah, so, like, as you're saying, all this Nasus wants to do in the first sort of 15 minutes until he gets the better portion of that Trinity Force, if not completes it, is just sit under his tower and get those siphoning strike stacks onto his kit.
Exactly, and right now, Aurelia is doing a really good job in the mid lane. Oh, a beautiful seismic jump from Tony. Says, get the hell out of my lane. I did not allow you to come here.
I did not order a boar to go. And
no, I ordered it to go away from me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We do see Mr. Wolf just hanging around the top side, possibly looking for something, just doing his krugs.
I mean, it is the wolf pack. Has to, like, you know, we've got the alpha wolf in the top lane. We've got Mr. Wolfers in the jungle. Like, you would expect through the names that there would be a lot of love coming to the top lane. Not a whole lot right now. Nasus, though, doesn't have any mana. So even if Rek'Sai does rock up to the top side, it's like, well, I can't really back you up. I do no damage. I've got no wave clear with my E. And I can't even slow him with my Wither. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the mid lane in this matchup is actually really good for Rek'Sai to visit because Cassio's pretty immobile, and putting a Cassio behind is really huge and, like, really detrimental to the Cassio because, once again, scaling champions, generally when put behind, it's like, well, there goes another 5 minutes before I'm relevant. And that's massive.
And how many more? And you look at their team composition. Nasus, late game without a sliver of a doubt. Talia, not played a whole lot in my opinion, but I would say she's a bit more of a mid to late game champion than an early game champion. And then the Ahri and the Lux, like, you're saying you're picking them for lane dominance, but right now they're quite far behind in this lane. They've lost tempo, they're down in CS. It doesn't feel like they're in control of this lane. So it feels like Willetton Senior High School Arctic are waiting to scale and get this Nasus on the line. But the issue is, how many 5-minute pushbacks can you afford to take before it becomes 5 minutes too late?
And that's it. And see, my one big problem with the draft of Arctic is the fact that they don't exactly have the most frontline, especially when what I would consider their frontline is a Nasus. And Nasus historically likes to just sit in the side wave and just win the game that way. Just draw pressure through split push and just make towers topple. So, considering he is their frontline, it tells me he's going to be team fighting more, or if he's not, then they don't have a frontline, and against the Sejuani Braum, you might be thinking, like,
there's a first blood in the mid lane while all this is happening. There was a visit by the boar in the mid lane. We do see the Petrifying Gaze was used and more than likely look down Tony, so tries to throw him in, realizes he's been flanked, Petrifying Gaze for the slow, and at this point there is no escape. The flash as well is adding insult to injury. Now on the top side, Alpha Wolf is in a lot of trouble. This Aurelia, like, part of the issue is we're seeing Nasus use his Spirit Fire, his E, for wave clear, not letting the wave push into him and then stacking his Q, which is really hurting him. He's 30 CS down.
Yeah, and the problematic thing about that is the amount of mana that you have to spend to use that Spirit Fire.
Ooh, on the bottom side, the charm does not connect, but the flashes, both of them forced out. And you said this is supposed to be a kill lane for the Ahri and the Lux. Well, right now, the only thing that's being killed in their bottom lanes is Arctic's chance of winning on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and it's just giving Hawkeye on that Ezreal free time to scale. He's got just that cheeky sly sack of gold sitting in his inventory right now. He's been stacking that one up, and he's stacking up a sizable CS lead over his counterpart on the Ahri as well. And honestly, if I could choose between the Ahri or the Ezreal in terms of DPS from a safe distance, Ahri has to kind of go in to deal that.
I mean, Ahri is an assassin. She jumps in, she chums, she combos, she dashes out, problem solved. Ezreal's like, okay, cool. You belong in a museum because that is not what you should be doing.
Exactly. And like, see, the problem is, we see a bit of something going on.
One more hit will do it. The Braum unable to pick it up at Ezreal. No! Bob Alicious does claim the kill. These bloodthirsty supports, man, taking all my kills.
Hey, I mean, how are they supposed to support you without items? Come on, my dude. He has to use the Winter's Bite there.
Exactly. Well, they do pick up the kill at the very least, and now Hawkeye going in, he does get charmed up, but in a 2 versus 1, your boy really is going to struggle to fight this one. The Braum shield stopped everything. There was no way that Ahri could fight that. He threw his entire combo, and Braum's like, don't worry, stand behind me. I've got you, Ezreal.
Yeah, that is why it's good. But on the top side of the map, Mr. Wolfer is going in for Incog.
Exactly, they're trying to get this Aurelia down, and can they get her out? They need to get this as a line. Oh, a beautiful Vanguard's Edge. The flash is available. The Prey Seeker does not connect. There is every chance she gets out of this one alive with the Blast Cone. That is huge. They couldn't lock Aurelia down, and they burnt so much time and resources on the top half of the map trying to get that to work, and nothing.
If that Prey Seeker hits, the Aurelia dies. That hurts my soul so much. I feel the pain of Mr. Wolfers right there. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. And what it is right now is a over 30 CS lead in favor of the Aurelia over the Nasus. On the bottom side, a 30 CS lead in favor of the Ezreal over the Ahri. So we're seeing Aurora having some really dominant lanes. Talking about dominant lanes, the Sejuani arrives but isn't even needed, but claims the kill anyway.
I mean, Sejuani can output some damage. Why not make her all that more tankier? I don't see the problem here, buddy. Why would I put it on a Cassiopeia? But I want you to take the topic on this one, right?
I have a feeling this is going to be the top lane.
The itemization of the top side of the map, because I know you are a Nessus connoisseur. So take the stage, my friend.
I mean, he doesn't have much of an option here. Realistically, it's either rush the Glacial Shroud or rush into Tabai, and obviously he values the extra CDR that the Tabai does not give, but the Glacial Shroud does. But the issue is that you kind of need the Tabai, because look at all the auto attacks that Incognic is actually firing away into Alpha Wolf. Like, about half to a third of his damage is just straight up auto attacks. Like, and with Conqueror being procced, the Glacial Shroud doesn't exactly help that. So I criticize it other than the fact that every time we look at Alpha Wolf, he's using that E to try and kill. Oh, that was a beautiful snipe coming out of Hawkeye, really living up to his name.
Yeah, hey, his aim is true, just like his barrage. Definitely a true shot right there. And that's just,
Oh, the Glacial Fissure coming out, and an easy pickup. Hawkeye does get executed by the turret, but it's an execute, so it's not even the end of the world.
That's great. Like,
okay, not great, he died.
I mean,
toasted.
But that's great. It's an execute. Who cares? He got a double. He's 3-1-1 with a 700 gold bounty. And this is horrible for the side of Arctic, because once again, it's a kill lane in the bot lane, that Ahri Lux combo, and they're both 0-2.
Exactly. I mean, the scaling composition is falling behind quite significantly. 6-0 in favor of Aurora. 5,000 gold. And no major objectives have been taking it. This is just generated from kills and minion CSing. So, Arctic are going to have to put on their turtle pants, but I don't think it's going to be enough when their top laner is forced to flash out like that. And Incognic has access to the Vanguard's Edge. He could look to try and force this issue on the top side. Look how far Alpha is. Like, he has to recall at the tier 2 to be safe.
Yeah, and honestly, I have to say, I really expect to see more bot side pressure out of this Queen of the Xur side, this Rex side, because they have a kill lane. They have two incredible kill threat champions. Why not throw a Rek'Sai in the mix to add some CC? And hey, let's put some damage on top of their abundance of damage already.
But, well, unfortunately, it does look like Arctic aren't electing to do that. I think they might be a little bit lost on the mid to bottom side of the map. I mean, they've lost 3 chapters already. We'll see how many pages are left in this book before Arctic are able to turn this around. So, we'll have to see how this continues. The Queen of the SI has decided to visit top lane, trying to get this Nasus ahead, but like, not the most effective use. They need to get, like, the Wither down before they can even try and force that. And even then, Nasus is rushing for the Frozen Heart, which isn't a bad decision by any means, but he has no damage. He has so few stacks as well.
This is bad. Look at the top side of the Rift. It's going to be a 3v2.
Oh, another snipe while we're looking at there. Ari trying to force something on the bottom side of the map. But meanwhile, on the top side, Aurelia trying to use that Defiant Dance to try and buy time. But unfortunately, this dance rehearsal has been cut short by her death. But the Queen of the Zersai will fall as well. Taking out a beautiful smite, picking up there from Pasito, really wanting himself that kill there. So pick up 2 kills now on the ceremony. And at the bottom side, your boy 2-1-2-3 dies as well.
Yeah, no, this has been massive. Podesio just flexing over Mr. Wolferia's.
I mean, if anyone
smoked him down.
But like the bottom side, this Ezreal 5-1-1, a 1,000 gold bounty. Look at his items. He's stacking his first tier with the Mirror Mana. He's got the Sheen ready to rumble. Like, he could go into a Trinity Force. Now, typically... Oh, actually... Nah. Oh, Aurelia's behind! Aurelia's teleported onto the flank. Alpha Wolf is in so much trouble. The double CC chain is coming in. And unfortunately, this Alpha Wolf will be dethroned as he is taken out for the first time in this game.
Yikes. And he has had such a rough time in this early game. The Aurelia actually was the first pick.
Oh, the CC chain. This is the kill lane we were looking for. But the issue is that all they have is lost chapters. They don't have any proper damage.
No, the only one with any real source of penetration on the side of Arctic is that Talia. Mr. Wolfers.
He's trying to look on this bottom side like you were wanting, but the issue is they can't. They need to land CC before the Rek'Sai can go in, and the issue is that all the light bindings and all the charms just aren't connecting right now. He is hanging around on the bottom side though, so maybe Wolfies can force something.
Yeah, they do also have the double ignite, you have to remember, so they have a lot of potential here to force something.
Oh, talking about forcing something, your boy is in so much trouble. Stand still, that's a very questionable flash, and he goes down. He tried to outsmart the Ezreal. Unfortunately, the Ezreal outsmarted him and took him down.
Yeah, no, look, the standing still to dodge the true shot was great, but oh, the flash!
The follow-up. Can they really commit to? Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Aurelia is whacking away on this Nasus. It looks like Thunderstorm will be able to get on. Actually, Hawkeye may be in a little bit of trouble. Wolfers sinks his teeth into his target. Now, Bobalicious may be the next up, but Cassiopeia is arriving. The Snake has arrived to the battlefield. They need to get the CC chain down. They do. There was no ultimate out of the Rek'Sai. The CC locked her down.
Yeah.
Oh, Thunderstorm. This is just greedy. Goodbye.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't know why you're there. Nothing else I can say.
A little bit of greed.
The Cassiopeia miasma grounding Rek'Sai and saying, no, you cannot burrow under the earth because it's covered with poison. And,
but why would poison on top of the earth stop Rek'Sai from burrowing under the earth?
Because Rek'Sai would have to go through the poison.
But it's on top of the... But it's on top. But see? Still, this is the stuff we need to be thinking about, Toasted, as we are... So Dragon is taking the first one of this game so far, and... Oh, looks like Tony might be in a little bit of trouble. A lovely seismic shove, and there is no glacial prison to be thrown out right now. So it looks like Tony is declared innocent.
Yeah, he does have the glacial prison, and he will not go
Vanguard's
to jail.
edge is dropped on the top side of the map. Alpha Wolf is in so much trouble, and Incognic is just having a good time up here with a completed Trinity Force. With the Tiamat as well, Alpha Wolf, it's only so long before he gets taken out.
Yeah, and that is rough, and it's turned into a bit of an ARAM in the mid lane. There will be a 4v4 for this mid brick one turret, but the Herald has been what looks like started up by the Ezreal.
And it makes sense, Ezreal, with that fully completed Trinity Force now, has no reason not to feel confident, although he is very low on HP, so I presume maybe tanking a few things. As Talia, that is not the Weaver's Wall we are looking for. A beautiful Petrifying Gaze locks down the Ahri and takes her out. That ain't KDA, that's death right there. As Thunderstorm will get crushed down as well. Snespel will snag himself his 3rd kill on the game with the Snake, and a bit... over-chasing maybe coming out of Aurora, but they have to feel confident. They're over 10,000 gold in the lead. We're not 15 minutes, we're barely past the 15-minute mark.
Honestly, there, I feel like after the pick, you all rotate top. The wave was crashing, but they will take out Talia pretty instantly, but...
Oh, the Queen of the Zersi finally sinks her teeth into that Ezreal. They do get the shutdown, but Rift Herald is being dropped from the mid lane. This is going to be at least one objective, potentially two. Again, 11,000 gold in the lead. I don't know what Arctic can do to actually stop this as they get a stun on to the Nasus. They're now fully chasing up the fissure as well. The Queen will fall. All hail the new Queen Cassiopeia.
Poseidon also does have the Glacial Prison active and available to him, so there is a possibility to look for something more out of this, but they are gonna just back off and just let the tower live for now. It's a warning sign.
Exactly, but it is just free gold sitting on the map. Look down the CS lines. Nearly a Flame Horizon occurring in the top lane. A Flame Horizon nearly occurring in the bottom lane. The only lane that is somewhat going even with the opposite number is the Talia in terms of farm. And even then, it is a 0-3 Talia to a 4-0-4 Cassiopeia.
Now, buddy, you're gonna have to explain something for some of the viewers watching at home.
Yes, the Flame Horizon. Now, the Flame Horizon, I'll take you back a story in Korea many, many years ago. There was a Korean top laner whose name was quite literally Flame. Now, back then, League of Legends was not the game it is today. Nowadays, there's a lot more strategy, a lot more macro coming out. But back then, the emphasis was quite simple. Win game, win lane, win game. Now, the Flame Horizon was simply where Flame, on multiple occasions, would get 100 CS over his opposite number just from laning phase. It wouldn't be anything fancy like what we're seeing now. It was simply in laning phase, he would get 100 CS over his opposite number because he was just that better of a laner. Now, things have changed, but he has made his mark on League of Legends in that if you are 100 minions above your opposite number, you have Flame Horizons them. Now, we're seeing it getting very close to that in multiple lanes right now.
Yeah, so I believe that it was actually also a kill above your opponent. Was it Flame
I
Horizon?
disagree with that. Some people have said 1 kill, some people say 2. I've always said that it is 100 CS over his opposite number.
I honestly, I agree. I think 1 kill, I would consider that, 100 CS without any kills is a Flame Horizon, but...
They might dive Ari here, yeah. Ari forced it back away. They do take another turret as history has been concluded for today, class. You are dismissed. Willetton, I'm sure seeing you had enough history today that they don't want to be hearing it over the intercom as they're trying to play their game. As Aurora having a very good time now, 18 kills for 3, 14,000 gold in the lead. And look at the gold disparity. Ezreal sitting on 8,000 gold. Ari hasn't even got 4K in her pocket right now. She is so far behind, and that's in every lane right now.
It's a pretty big yikes, and you can see the gold is exactly where the side of Willetton Senior Aurora want it. It's on those carries, on those people who can just hard stomp the game, like the Aurelia, like the Ezreal, even the Cassio as well. So this is great for them. They're sitting really pretty right now. The Baron is also about to go live, and honestly, I think that they can take it after grabbing a pick.
Exactly. We need to see if they can get a proper setup around there with their vision control. We're trying to see, like, you see Incognito trying to be cute there, but nothing coming of it just yet, as we can see how far Aurora, not necessarily how far Aurora is ahead, but how far Arctic is behind. Look at the items. The only person who has completed a single item is Mr. Wolf's Rek'Sai, who has completed the Warrior enchantment of his Smite. That is it. Everyone else is sitting on components.
And the reason is because he was able to cash in on a 1,000 gold bounty off of killing Hawkeye.
Exactly, but unfortunately the rest of the team struggling. There we go, finally another complete. Oh, this is just cruel right now. It's a hunting season for Aurora, and they smell blood in the water. It looks like they want themselves a piece of the dog right now. They will take out the Nasus, but they do lose one, and they may be losing a second one, but the Cassiopeia Miasma is lovely. The Petrifying Gaze maybe not connecting with the ideal target, but a double kill coming out for the Sejuani, and there we go, dancing, ducking, diving, dodging. The queen of dodgeball is here. Snazpool picks himself up a double kill.
And Snazpool obviously learned in PE how to dodge a wrench so she can definitely dodge an REQ or any other skill shot for that matter.
Exactly, and it was like they may be even going to end the game here. They say, hey, you guys are barely, some of you are finally putting together your first items, but you're all dead for at least a couple more seconds. We will be able to take at least one. Nasus is arriving, but I don't think he has the damage. He has so few stacks. The Glacial Fissure used as a zoning tool right now, simply by seeing time teleport coming in as well from Incognic to try and see what he can do. This Aurelia has a lot of damage with those two fully completed items, but gets pulled into the fountain by the seismic shove, forced to flash the hell away out of dodge, and Aurora a little bit overconfident perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're having a bit of fun, flexing on their classroom mates right here, being like, you know what? I'm the king of the rift.
Exactly, but you can't be too overconfident. I have seen crazier things.
We are seeing first items being picked up for the majority of all the other players on the side of Willetton Arctic. So, I mean, it's not 100% over. It's a very dire situation.
I have seen crazier games. All I will say is I was in a game where we were 30k down behind and we still ended up winning. Long story, it was a very rough solo queue game about 3 years ago. I'm not very happy at that one, but unfortunately, the not very happy comes out of Tony, who is CC'd and taken down in the Aurelia. Finally locked down under turret. The final sparkle is all that Aurelia will see before she gets taken down.
So tell me, do you think that Thunderstorm is going to get the lightning upgrade on this Lux skin? I think it's only fitting, to be honest.
I mean, it always is fitting, but then again, like, I actually don't remember the all the different forms that come out of Elemental's Lux despite owning the skin. Because I play Lux so inconsistently, and Hawkeye is very pushable. Everyone's behind him. They should be able to go for this. There they go. They finally commit onto the edge, or the CC does land, and Hawkeye, you had no right to be there.
Honestly, yeah, that's essentially just saying, here you go, buddy, have a free 500 gold pickup. I just wanted a faster base anyway. But honestly, that's a way for the team to get back in the game. It's all going onto the Rek'Sai as well. If you have a look, she will soon have that Black Cleaver completed, and once she does, she becomes that little bit beefier and also is able to shred the tanks like the Sejuani.
Has more than enough now, sitting on almost 2,000 gold, but the issue is Rek'Sai can't actually afford to back right now. If she does, that is a free Baron, and hell, they might even start it. They have a 2-level lead with the Sejuani.
Oh, she is backing right now, so honestly, I think they just sneak this at this point. The Rek'Sai has indeed gone back to base, and they're not going to get that in time.
just messed up the ward. I mean this in a nice way. He was meant to ward over the bush and completely missed it. I love you, Bobalicious, but I had to do it. But you're right. No vision, and now they know, wait a second, we've been had.
Just have a look at the vision in total on the map.
There is,
there's zero vision for the side of Arctic.
There's there are 4 control wards coming out of Aurora.
5.
There's 5 on the map? Oh yeah, you're right, on the bottom side river.
Yeah.
And there is currently 0. And this is partly just tempo and control.
Well, I mean, they are 17,000 gold ahead of their opponent right now, so they can afford to do it. It's too dangerous for the side of Arctic to even leave their base, pretty much. So
you don't need vision outside it. You can't steal the Baron away. You're 2 levels down with 3 levels down with your jungler now. You're not stealing any objectives with that difference in smite damage. So, and now with the Baron buff, I don't see a reason why Aurora actually has to commit to a fight. They can just let the minions do it for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's always a possibility to steal it. Like, if you are just an OG, like good old Roasty Toasty himself. Joke, but
oh, Glacial Fissure coming out onto the Ari. She has been CC'd up. She is going to get taken down after trying to retreat, but the rest of the team heads following up. This is a one-sided slaughter. The Rek'Sai will fall. The dog, the last man standing for the team, the last of the wolf pack, is trying to escape. Actually, Lux is arrived on the back line, and unfortunately, Lux is all that remains of Wellington Senior High School Arctic, as Aurora will establish themselves as the dominant team between the two of them. Not even safe on the fountains. Thunderstorm gets crushed out for the 7th time.
And Bobalicious right at the end there, just asserting his dominance as the superior support, gives the Winter's Bite over to that Lux. But that will be Willetton Senior High School Aurora taking the victory over their sister team in the same school.
Exactly, and if we want to look at this from a critical perspective, the drafting from both teams does need a little bit of love. Aurora can look at maybe picking for each other, maybe trying to hide certain matchups would be a potential idea that they can look at, but obviously they must be feeling very confident, and rightly so. They played this game really, really well. They won lane, and they dominated the game from there. Arctic, they might need, once again, drafting could use a little bit of love,
I'm
but
gonna-
the champions they picked weren't necessarily bad.
Yeah, I'm going to give them one tip. Maybe don't play 2 mages in the bot lane.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. Little bit of tip there. Look to get your AD carry. They are meta for a reason, guys. But talking about being meta, that is it for meta tonight, guys. So thank you everyone for participating in today's events. I know we only got to stream 2 games, but I know New Zealand had their games earlier today, and the entirety of Australia. So hope that you had fun for the very first week. We cannot wait to see you in week 2 to see what you bring to the table. But guys, that is it from myself and Toasted. We'll see you next week for week 2 of Meta.
See you then.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption, breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out. Just wanna be carefree lately, yeah. Just picking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Count 'em like the 4-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied, like gangsters, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
На топ отправлять. Иначе КВП. Т была.
Si no quieres perderte nada, ya sabes, dale a la campana.